What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Brennan and I'm BManX45, and today we're coming at you with another video. We have hobby news for the Digimon TCG. Today we're going to be talking about trading and trades and having an online trade with other players from the Digimon community. We're going to talk about best practices about trading with people, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, as well as how to avoid scammers and avoid people who might scam you. I think it's very important as someone who does these Digimon videos. I want to be as upfront about experiences I've had and maybe some cases where I could have done better. And so that's just something to look into. And I think it's worthy of hobby news because I think it's something that is good for people to know. And so here it is. We are looking into this. And if you enjoy this type of content, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a single minute of the fun. So one thing we are definitely trying to avoid when we talk about trades and trading is the dreaded scammer. So, we want to be aware of scammers. That's point one I'm going to make. So when you're making trades, when you're getting cards off of people, you definitely want to be aware. I have been scammed at least once. I don't think any more than that, but one time, and there's been many attempts. I lost probably a couple $100 in a big lot when I was just getting into the game, and I was trying to buy a lot of the older cards because I got it in BT4, and so I had missed the release boosters 1 and 1.5 and 1.0, and I was trying to get a lot of those alt arts because I'm a collector. And I really like the game. I really like the art styles. I'm trying to get all these cards. And they're expensive and hard to find. And you have to fight people for them. And it just worked out that this guy had a big lot. And I made him an offer. And he said yes. And I was going through. And it was a group I had bought. It was an American group. And I'm in Canada. And I generally don't try to buy in the American groups because then I pay currency conversion. And that hurts. But this was too good of a deal, that I thought it was going to be good, and I had bought off people in that group. I transferred PayPal, and the guy, he was very, upfront messaging me about it. And then I even bought something else off of him that he's like, oh, I have these. I think it was the gift box one. I was trying to get one with an Agumon coin in it because I really wanted one, and he. Unfortunately, I paid for that as well, and I was waiting for him to, give me a copy of the tracking. He never gave me a tracked receipt. In fact, he said, "Oh, I lost the tracking receipt," and I said, "Okay, well, can you try and get me some tracking?" I was messaged him again and again and again. He was going to pay me back when he got paid next. He never sent me any money. He continued to talk with me, but and then even when I went to the admins of the group, no one ever got back to me to report what had happened. So it was unfortunate. But the way I look at it is I have a very good job. I get paid a lot of money. Makes it so that I can play this game and take care of my family. So if you need $200, $300 from me, if you need to scam $200, $300 from me, that's all right. I can make that no problem at all. That's between you and how you feel about your life. And honestly, if you need that $300, go ahead and have it. But it is good to avoid that when possible. Not everyone has a good job like me. Not everyone can get as much stuff as I do. And so these tips and stuff like that, I just want to put out there because I think people should be aware. One thing is especially when you're on a site like Facebook, check how long the person has been a member of that group. A lot of scammers, you'll find that they've only been there, a couple, days, a week, just recently of this year. If you're worried about it, get them to send you references. Reference is good. There's nothing wrong with a reference check. Somebody shouldn't be offended. Just say, hey, you want a reference check. As well as when you're a buyer, it's your right to, you're paying money. You're paying money for something. It is your right to ask for anything you feel necessary in order to make you feel safe. I mean, within a limit and stuff like that. If they can provide you a photo of the card with a date and time stamp on it, sure, that's fine. Sometimes I think people go a little bit too far and stuff like that, like wanting their name on it. That to me doesn't really necessarily make sense. You could write any word. Like, you don't have to have your name on it. I think people are worried about that because then people will take their card pictures with the person's name who's going to buy and use that to scam other people. So it doesn't have to be their name. It can be, if you're comfortable with having the seller's name on it, that's one thing. You can get them to write supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'm pretty sure they're not going to have a pre-designed pick around with that and a Digimon card. So there's numerous things you can do. Because I know that the name thing bothers some people. Not the seller's name, but if the buyer asks a seller to put their name on it and take a picture, that bothers some sellers. So you got to work with the seller. You always have an open line of dialogue and communication. That's point A. Be very polite about it. Be very polite. If someone, whenever a scammer comes up to me and they post the wrong card, I just say, sorry, wrong card. And if they don't respond, if they don't try again, I leave the conversation. It's done. It's over. I do try to warn people about stuff like that, but I don't, get aggressive with it because, chances are, maybe it's just somebody who doesn't know. Highly unlikely, but there could be a chance. So you just got to be friendly, polite. Don't let them waste your time. Don't let scammers waste your time. Definitely, I would say be cautious. References are good. Pictures are good. One thing I always recommend, and I will always do as a seller and as a buyer, is I ask people to send me a picture of the address to make sure the address is right on the envelope, and if they can send a video of the parcel going into the mail. That's one thing I'm super, I really like it when they do that, because at that point, if it doesn't show up, at least there was a letter that went into the mail with my name on it that looked exactly like that I should get regardless. Regardless if it had nothing in it. It was completely empty and the person was scamming me. But at least at that point I know, okay, they put something into the mail and I should get it. And if I don't get it, it's because the postal service, which here in Canada is atrocious, lost it. That's fine. I decided not to buy tracking. That's my fault. Regardless if the person had tried to scam me or not. Because I highly doubt the person trying to scam me is going to risk a federal crime to go and rip open the postal box after they put it in, and be like, oh, no. And risk a federal crime for a $20 Digimon card. If they do that, they're stupid and they're going to get put in jail and you don't have to worry about it because eventually they'll get theirs. That's just, it is what it is. But other things I think are good things to people remember. As a seller, I always provide video or photo evidence of the cards and the envelope with the address. And then I provide a video of me putting in the mail every single time. That way I'm not liable. If I don't do that, I feel like I'm liable. And if something happens, I should refund the person. But the person has a choice. They have a choice for PWE. They have a choice for Bubble. They have a choice for tracking. If they're worried about it, you should pay for the tracking. I've lost things in the mail that were over $100, but the person gave me evidence of it going in the mail, and I did not expect them to pay me back. Some people are nice like that. They will, come to the table with you and stuff like that. Some people I have had where they didn't give me any proof of sending it off, would come to the table and at least give me some of the money back. So I felt like they weren't scamming me. It was just unfortunately that they didn't decide to take those pictures, because I wouldn't have expected anything back from them had they take the pictures. When no one gives you proof of it even leaving, if they can give it to you later, if they can give you the picture, they whatever, but if they don't give you any, if they have no proof, then I feel like it's on you, the seller. If you can't take a 5-second video to prove that you put it in the mail, I feel like it's on you and you should have to refund if it doesn't arrive. So that's why I like simple selling procedures. 1, be courteous. 2, take a picture. 3, take a video of it going in the mail, especially if it's not tracked. If it's tracked, give them the tracking. It's not your problem after that. It's all Canada Post's problem. So it's just simple things as sellers. Again, check your references. If you're worried, if you're not worried, if you know that these people are good people, and sometimes things change. People who have traded all of a sudden become scammers, and that's unfortunate. And you can't necessarily predict that, but you can take steps. If something seems sketchy, you can take steps to at least alleviate your concerns as much as you possibly can until you get the cards. So definitely, that's one thing. I think being always time stamping your videos when you put posts up is important as sellers. I think one thing I definitely think is please don't waste people's time. As someone who sells and buys, it's nice to not have your time wasted. Get back to people. If you ask for a price, just say, if you're not, if you don't want to pay that money, either make them an offer or say, sorry, I can't, thank you for taking the time to give me a price, but I don't think I can afford that right now. And wish them the best. Because that's just, common courtesy goes a long way, especially with selling relationships. And I do think that will help avoid people thinking that you might be a scammer, or just avoid bad relationships. Because these are the people that you're going to potentially play the card game with in the future. And that's super important to me. I really love this game, and I really hope that people, be kind, because it's just so hard. You want to pick up the cards, you want to be able to get stuff, you want to make some money on the card game. It's all a lot, and it's just nicer when you don't have all these frustrations in the background. Especially like if you're a seller too, like when you tell someone you're going to buy something, and then the person messages you to check to receive payment, especially since they're probably doing multiple sales at one time. They're trying to get envelopes ready. They got other things in their life going on. And then you have to constantly the seller has to constantly message you and ask you, hey, are you going to pay? Blah, blah, blah. You still want these cards? They're doing a courtesy to you by not just passing on to the next person. So it's nice when you at least message them back and say, sorry, no, I can't buy the cards. I was going to, but I can't. It just takes a second to give a little common courtesy. And you can't tell me you wouldn't want the same thing done for you in that exact circumstance. So I definitely think that there's something to be said about being courteous, about giving a few seconds, especially when you engage with a person because you want something, to be like, hey, no, that's fine, I'll pass, or yes, I want it and I'm going to pay you. This is when I'm going to pay you, and stuff like that. And just be upfront about people. And the other thing too is when you decide you agree to a payment, I've had this happen to me before. You agree to a payment, and then you flake on a person, and then you say, no, I don't want them, like a week and a half later. Now the price starts dropping down, and you go back to that person, and you ask them, yeah, I want these. I want them now that they're $2 again. Well, now you made a commitment to buy those at that price, and then you flaked on them, and in that meantime, that card lost value. They had to deal with that loss of value because they could have sold it to someone else, but they decided to wait for you. That is not a good thing. That is not an honest thing, and it will honestly end with you being probably banned or just known in certain communities as the person you don't sell to. So be very upfront. If you don't want to pay for the card, don't say you'll take it and wait to see if it goes down or up. Just either pay for it or don't pay for it. That's the decision you have to make. Pass or don't pass. Anything else is trying to take advantage of people, and then you're pretty much just a scammer. You're just a scammer, because if you're going into this to take advantage of people, I don't care if you're stealing or not sending cards, you're trying to scam someone. You're trying to profit off someone else, which is, as a seller, you're trying to profit off someone else, but generally you're making a business transaction, and that's simple as that. You've got something the person wants, you set the price, they decide if they want to pay it. That's fair business. Fair business. So I definitely think you got to be aware of scammers. You got to be aware of potential sellers who just don't, and buyers who just don't understand. The other thing too is I believe in giving people, chance. Like if someone messages you and asks you for a price, and they can't maybe respond right away, maybe just give them the appropriate time to be like, hey, yeah, I want this, before you go on to the next person. Because that's usually nice too. Because you give someone a price, not everyone can always message. We all have jobs. We all have things we got to do. And not everyone can get to their phone every 5 seconds. So, there's usually let's say a grace period in which you should maybe stick with that person who messaged you first, because you'd want them to do the same thing for you, especially if it's something you really, really want. But with all that said, guys, that is my 2 cents on it. That is, be wary. Again, Facebook groups, Discord groups, a lot of scammer activity has been going on. Shout outs to Brick City Discord and the Digimon Canada groups on Facebook. I use them a lot. They're amazing groups, amazing people. There's a couple bad eggs that sneak in here or there, but most of the while we have good admins, so they deal with that, and we really appreciate it. And we really appreciate being able to get the amazing Digimon cards that we all love and want to see and want to play the decks that are coming up. So we appreciate having those resources to get the cards that we need, especially if we don't have stores around that can buy them. Looks like that's all the time we have for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next video. And as always, have a wonderful day, and that's all for now, folks.